and get loud. It's a Thursday night heavyweight fight, and we welcome you back to the ballpark for one final series as BDS and KCorp take the field in a legendary best-of-7. Only one can stay alive in the upper bracket, and as group stage comes to a close, all these players now shine on the biggest of stages. We're underway in Game 1.
One more best-of-7 until the doors open up to the beautiful fans of Rocket League, and it's already a shootout between both of these teams. High pressure forming immediately for Team BDS, but there's so much history between each side, Spaceman. We've got a tied-up record head-to-head, 4-4. BDS have won the most recent 2 best-of-7s, but they both went to Game 7s. Surely this is also going the distance.
And they've absolutely had the Blue Walls number as of late. Of course, looking back to Boston, it was a complete stomping in that Game 7. But of course, this is a different tournament, and it's already starting off with Itachi.
And it's so beautiful because this is the man I wanted to talk about, but we got to mention this bump play from Vatira, taking out Seiko in the backfield, leaving the clear path towards the shot for Itachi. And my word, Spaceman, Itachi has been phenomenal this entire event, especially, the only series we've seen from them, to be honest with you. It was a 4-1 win for KCorp, and Itachi was a beast the entire time. 3 out of 4 of the games that they won against Team Secret, he had 100% goal participation. In the first 2 games they won, he was doing so much work behind the ball, facilitating the shots, cleaning up, a tap-in merchant at a couple of moments, and he does not know when to give up.
And transition to the corner that was broken up very quickly. Exotic, the tip of the spear so far. What seems like in the beginning of this World Championship is Vatira will begin his press, but really it has been the stout offense from both teams that has stood out as of late. You look at Vatira, 153 goals on land. The one above him, Rise, 169. You're expecting that firepower to continue as the matches get ever so more important, but for the moment, the transition through the backside, of course, Seiko will take the ball out of his own side, and into the orange half we go as Rise plays it from the backboard. You now see KCorp starting to feel a little bit more comfortable on the other side of the field.
Yeah, and on the other side, Team BDS, they've also only played 1 series this entire World Championship event so far. Neither of them had to play and fight through the wild card, already premiering in the main event. And Team BDS did a great job at shutting down Team Falcons. A lot of solo plays when I went and watched that series back. A lot of air dribbles in the air, of course, which means that they should be well equipped to deal with KCorp when they want to fly high and ascend with some solo plays like this one from Itachi that's well read from Monkey Moon, but it actually got past them, and a poor shot far to the left side.
BDS have to start worrying about the 50s on the offensive third, but Rise trying to beat out Vatira and a nice chip shot into the corner. Clear it out, center box. Itachi will pick it up and carry it away. Flip reset, Rise too easy on the catch. Defense for the moment from BDS gives him a chance.
Wide
the
open.
breakaway gives him a tie game.
And everything comes down to this challenge initially from Rise. You see the composure behind the ball, and then the 50-50 against Exotic, who was the last man back. You have to get something else to delay, let your teammates get back to the other side. Getting stuffed and destroyed on that one-sided challenge is not enough.
It's been a couple of offensive third pushes from BDS, getting quickly cut down. Of course, the 50 game from KCorp, too strong for the moment, but tied up with still so much time to play. And a pass down quickly denied. For the moment, though, numbers do stack. KCorp, zone 2-3 spread, 1 falling back. It's Vatira now chasing, and it'll give BDS some time to start to pick apart the defense before the clear comes out.
And that's a big clear down the other side. Itachi can't find somebody. Exotic is immediately into the air. Good bounce, too, if the third man crashes up, but Vatira wants to stay patient and opts to get some better possession, but he's not going to get a good 50-50. The challenge game has been in favor of Team BDS.
It's been the extra touches on the rebounds as well, starting to move out those defenders, but KCorp again have the transition. And back into the midfield before Monkey Moon takes it on a one-on-one, fighting against Exotic on his own goal line. Seiko will hover back to the midfield. The third man presses, and will have to stay for the moment. A long clear back before here comes BDS yet again. Monkey Moon just for the touch, enough to disturb that defensive rotation that KCorp had set up.
It was a punishing goal for Team BDS, that first one. Of course, a result of a better 50-50, and they're trying to force more challenges in their way. There's a lot of space for Rise. What's he gonna do with it? Just bombs it past Vatira, who decides to leave it for Exotic. Not the best transitions out of KCorp, but everything could change with this form of possession down the other side.
Carmine are taking a while to clear that ball away, and they're seeing BDS really start to boom it downfield, forcing them to pull it off the backboard and create a counterattack that doesn't exist otherwise. But when you push upfield, you got to be careful about those quick transitions. Carmine had an opportunity. Itachi with a poke free, checked out into the corner, and it will be corralled for the moment as Seiko gets an extra touch to the midfield. Here comes Carmine yet again.
Final 60 seconds. You can understand why these teams are so close, evenly matched. It's been back and forth, not one holding more of an advantage. With ball possession, with shots, it's all been quite even. And BDS are looking for that second one. Monkey Moon had a shot.
And they're really stretching the boost thin. Carmine having to use a lot to clear this ball to the midfield. Quick cut down. More challenges on the one-on-one. Leave it up to a 50 game. Here comes BDS, the world champions of the MVP, into the corner. Monkey Moon sets up for the shot. And Rise letting them know across the stage.
And look at how quickly the follow-up here is for Monkey Moon. Vatira didn't know if he should rotate out, if Exotic was going to come out of the net. Two players stagnant out of KCorp. And an immediate strike out of Monkey Moon puts him up by one.
Half a minute to play here in game number 1 of our best of 7. Again, this is still Group A, our semifinals in the upper bracket. But we still have a ways to go in this weekend. Seiko has a lot to work with off the backboard. 2 will commit, but back onto the offensive third. It's Monkey Moon punching it towards the back wall. And Vatira will find the clear. A chance now upfield to get 1 or 2 more swings for KCorp before game 1 is done and done.
Vatira wanted a 50-50 challenge and squeezes out to Exotic. 10 seconds to tie things up. Everything needed for KCorp. Otherwise, BDS are going to find early momentum in this series.
And all it takes is 1 push. Is it up to Itachi? It might be.
Reset.
Holds the reset through the corner. Got to find the kill.
There it is.
And they will. BDS take game 1.
And it was a defensive approach in the first half of game 1. Then, as they got comfortable, found their footing, found their groove, they were able to get out on the offensive half, build some pressure, and I think that's the best approach. Try and figure out how KCorp are approaching the game, figure out their style, which felt a bit one-sided, throwing 1 player behind the ball, hoping to get a good air dribble. That was about it, and then the transitions for BDS, flawless. As we look at the Mobile 1 high-performance replay, a very composed game from BDS. We didn't see any mistakes, Spaceman, barely any double commits, if any. And things were smooth sailing for all of them.
Start off with a couple of brutal 50s there for KCorp in that offensive third, but the quick response. And again, the audibles the BDS are able to call thanks to the addition of Rise. How the cadence does absolutely change. Former professional player Turtle, that's me. But when it came down to this game specifically, it really was the change of pace from BDS, how quickly they were able to respond and help them with the game 1 win.
The fact that they were able to sit back a little bit in the early parts of that game gave me even more confidence. They didn't look too eager to get going. And as I said, I watched that Falcons game over one more time from BDS and of course Team Falcons. There was a lot of mechanical issues. Like, we didn't get a picture-perfect Team BDS. A lot of whiffs. I saw Seiko actually misread a couple of opportunities from the backboard. Sometimes the defense would have a few double commits, and I wasn't too confident in this series when comparing theirs against KCorp's match against Team Secret. KCorp looked so fundamental, but that has not been the case. It's all Team BDS. And right now, they're making 0 mistakes on the defensive side. KCorp got a little bit of recovering to do.
And this is the reason that BDS brought on Rise to this roster. They wanted to get these tight situations locked up and secured. And a great shot from Monkey Moon, follow up by Rise. What a ridiculous play.
Didn't even mean to do this. Rise, I think, is rotating across at this moment. Oh my goodness, there's no way he read that. We've got to ask him, did he mean to read that crossbar down? I have no idea why he's in the position, but that's why he gets paid a lot of money to do a lot of work on the field.
It's hard to not see the star-studded power across these rosters. World champions, major champions, every single person on both teams having success at the highest level. And when the moment calls upon you with the World Championship, you certainly answer. Seiko off the backboard, leaves it to Rise yet again. Down to Seiko in the box. Quick stop from Vatira. Double commit. Monkey Moon for the second goal.
And you understand why KCorp wants to send more than 1 goalkeeper at this shot. It's a heat-sinking missile from Seiko. You gotta send everybody. And of course, the double commit comes out, leaving the net wide open on the right side. Team BDS, game 2. Not slowing down.
Shot selection there for Rise. Follow-up from Monkey Moon, former best player in the world, trying to reclaim his mark here. The World Championship requires the best, and Monkey Moon will fall back out into rotation. Seiko taking the call for the moment, but KCorp just have to work out of getting in the blue half. And up the other side of the field, the Monkey Moon on the slow. Seiko now hunting for boost, but waiting for Exotic to get out of the play. And as Exotic pulls back, Seiko will now stay in that island spot. The lone backline for the moment for BDS before he starts to move up.
They've been earning more space on the offense, Team BDS, with those good 50-50s. And touches like this from Rise to keep it to himself, opting for a better clear. So far, there are very few cracks. However, there are a couple that KCorp wants to expose. They found one here.
And you're never going to keep Vatira at bay for long. Great setup from Exotic, and the beat on the read. The pre-jump had to be precise. Of course it was. KCorp just down a goal with plenty of time on Forbidden Temple. And more than enough in the tank to get it done.
BDS got too eager. The first mistake that we've truly seen out of that defense. Pushing up too far. Third man unable to get the read. Maybe the transition game is what's needed for Carmine. Stay on your own half. Try to draw all BDS into your own half and potentially trap them. There's still plenty of time.
It's a great follow-up by Exotic, as well as watching the shot from Vatira eventually conclude, was able to get the boost and start the transition. Numbers do spread. Carmine very comfortable for the moment, but they're going to have to worry about those chip challenges at the midfield. As yet again, BDS start to swing. Pulling the numbers out, Seiko will go up for the read.
Ooh,
leaves it. Vatira flying forward, and Exotic will clear to the back wall.
Interesting play there for Seiko to leave it for Rise. I like the vision, but just going for plays like that has to exude a lot of confidence on the field. KCorp haven't seen a lot of offense, but this is the best bit we've gotten in the past 30 seconds. And Exotic hammers one home.
And Vatira has such great patience to follow up on the 50. Exotic was circling for what felt about a minute, waiting for the Carmine offense to get up in a sustained drive and finally capitalize on the space. A player that does not get as much flowers as he deserves, and he's able to tie this one up.
And it's a very straightforward approach out of Exotic, but you have to hit that ball with so much power. Might have left a dent in the ball as it's rotating out. Itachi, what else does he have in store? It's a classic bump play. Vatira sends himself forward, tries to take out the goalkeeper, and leaves the rest to Itachi.
And the frustration from BDS setting in. What do you do in this spot? Hope and pray that they miss their mark, but they will not. A quick lead and a quick transition of opportunities as now the momentum swings down 2-0 quickly. 3 unanswered. Carmine are rolling.
Just like that, everything has been in favor of KCorp. Challenges, the possession, I'd say, has still been quite even, but the quality that KCorp have been able to get on offense, unmatched in game number 2.
And you always have to worry about the threat of the demo as well. The bump plays really haven't been there to start other than our prior goal, but Carmine are always in a position to get that going. As Rise will leave it to Monkey Moon on the self-serve. And a very soft touch into the corners to commit, but they will not have to pay for it at the moment. Cleared off the back wall, transition begins, and the counterattack starts. Carmine now through the corner, broken up for the moment. BDS trying to get out.
All right, do BDS find each other on the other side? They've been able to get clears, but not string together a few passes. You're not going to get many opportunities without the quality passes across the field, and here they are overextending once again, running back, trying to recover.
Rise low on boost, trying to sit in that second slot and wait for an opportunity to pounce. A team pass would certainly help, but they had to race back to that ball. And for the moment, it looks like BDS are just struggling to get themselves set up and find those infield passes, giving the possession yet again, away to Vatira as it pops free and Exotic will handle.
There's some mechanical issues too. Rise couldn't get a touch on that ball as it was sent his way. KCorp leading by 1 goal. They don't have any security, but at this moment, just run this clock down. Team BDS playing against the time.
And how far forward are everybody from KCorp playing? For the first time now, starting to slow down. The crossing pattern leads to a possession for Carmine. Over 1, Seiko will have no problem dishing it out on a scoop and serve to Monkey Moon. Looking for the 50, will get beat to the ball. Itachi recenters into the box. Here comes Exotic off the crossbar, off the top. And it just kind of ricochets out dangerously. BDS trying to make their move.
And this is BDS's chance to exchange a punch for a punch. But immediately stuffed in the corner. Vatira got a 50-50, but it's not enough to beat Rise, who found the pass out, gave it with a handoff, and still that isn't enough to break through the armor of KCorp.
The play just breaks down too quickly. BDS don't have the answers they're looking for, and Carmine absolutely do. The defense has been stout, and it has kept this BDS offense at bay. So often Rise taken out of the play, looking for the center. His teammates won't be there. Seiko overcommitted. Now it's a breakaway chance. Carmine just have to kill 16 seconds of time.
Here we go. 1 opportunity left, it feels like, for BDS. Could this be it? Monkey Moon was hunting for the demo, didn't find any physical contact, and the defense should be organized as it's passed back into the midfield. Monkey Moon took a shot far off, not what they have, and just like that, it is going to be a back and forth series.
Well, BDS were your runner-up at Boston, losing to Vitality in the grand finals, but they've had Karmine Corp's numbers since the EU Spring Invitational. Most recently, of course, at our last major, a 4-3 victory in Game 7 in that upper bracket final. But Karmine have made the adjustments, and it seems like they've really gotten inside the heads of BDS, at least in Game 2. They've been breaking up so much of the sustained offense, not allowing those infield passes to flourish.
Which is ridiculous because that game started out fully in the favor of Team BDS. I mean, that play from Rise to read it off of the crossbar and down. I don't even know how this man understands and can have that type of vision on the field, but it was a recovery that KC were able to get before we even got to the second half, which is unbelievable stuff, the resilience of this team. This is why they are, major champs, why they are a team that a lot of people are talking about to win the entire tournament, and now fighting for a top 8 spot.
13 shots for BDS in Game 2, 6 for Karmine, but all they needed was 3 to land. And you start off with a 2-0 lead for BDS. You think the momentum can only get better. A quick response from Karmine and a sustained one, a consistent pressure that they're just moving upfield, taking out the lone defenders of BDS. And those infield passes that work for Karmine, that really was just a lot of solo clears that eventually led way to either defense breaking down. Regardless, though, we do have ourselves a tie series. If you're just joining us, welcome into the final match of the night. It's a best of 7. We find out who moves into top 8. Neither team is going to be eliminated if they drop, but regardless, so much on the line moving to tomorrow.
And historically, this should be, if it follows that same pattern, a Game 7. This is going to be a long one. Off the backboard, BDS want to strike early. They're hungry. And I'm sure a bit frustrated at how game number 2 went. They had more shots, had more pressure, but the quality not there, lacking on the offensive side for BDS. Do they change that in game number 3?
Another huge cut down to the midfield, back into the neutral zone for the moment, but Rise will start to follow and make his move. Exotic fights on the challenge, and Itachi follows up with the quick save, dished out and cornered into the center, as Vatira will clear it away for the moment. Now numbers spread. Karmine, a lot to work with here, and a bunch in the tank for Itachi. Seiko cuts it down, and on we go.
Physical game from KC. Vatira didn't have the boost, instead went for that bump. Also took the corner of BDS. This could be a strong bit of possession off the ceiling. Monkey Moon early read, but thankfully Itachi has it covered. Back to the other side we go.
A minute burned so far in game 3. Been a threatening attempt from Karmine. An opportunity here or there for BDS. Make that 2 demos for the moment, as it's been punishing from Karmine. The physicality really starting to pick up here in game 3.
Ooh, Monkey Moon. Clutch read, and I think they're going to look to play a little bit more defensive. If we take a look at game 2 and a couple of those goals, it felt like they were running back after committing too far forward on offense. BDS need to learn to control themselves a bit and not get too eager behind the ball. This is an opportunity shot for Monkey Moon. Saved out of KC, but the pressure keeps coming.
It's been a bit worrisome on the goal line, but Karmine have handled the pressure. And they've limited Rise heavily in the last 2 games for the moment. Sitting at 50 points,
and they
one of
limit
the most
Seiko.
Shooters you're ever going to find. As Monkey Moon will just try to play it off the back wall, will do so. Seiko flies out. Boost going to be a priority for the moment here for BDS, but they can't give up the midfield for free.
But thankfully, they do have Monkey Moon far back as that third man. They understood the assignment a little bit and have controlled themselves as much as they can. Seiko booming clear down the other side. It's about building that quality space, man. Yes, you got more shots, but where are the opportunities for BDS?
And these opportunities haven't bit Karmine in the back yet, but a couple of double commits that have continued to be a problem. The Musty, the center, and Seiko closes.
Oh, and this is beautiful. Look at Rise delaying behind the ball. This first touch gives so much opportunity for Monkey Moon to crash the backboard. If Rise goes for an immediate shot, he might lose possession. He might give the ball away. Instead, keeps it to himself, lets his teammates go for the demo, and of course, the third man waiting in position.
It's high risk, high reward. You keep numbers up, and you hope that you keep getting Karmine to bite, but Itachi picks his poison and lets them know they're not going anywhere.
We saw this against the Falcons, a couple of defensive whiffs. Rise also couldn't get a solid touch on the ball. Just falls simply to KC. Nothing else to say. You gotta hit those.
And it's those mistakes that'll cost you in a tournament like this. It'll cost you against a team like Karmine. Tied up yet again. Here we go into game 3. A slight bump, but Monkey Moon will at least be able to get the ball out. The dividends start to pay off here for BDS. Seiko looking for the bump off the play. Congested into the lane, but rotation begins. 2 fall back, all 3 in the corner for the moment. Karmine just trying to get out of the blue half. Another chip challenge, and Rise will win another.
Feels like a game for KC where they've just got to punish. Hold on as long as they can. on this defense. So far, they've been building a fortress. Another whiff out of, I believe that was Rise. Now some questions getting brought up, and if you're missing the midfield and giving Vanti some space, he's going to embarrass you, Spaceman.
Exotic backs up, and Vanti just takes it off the challenge, works through the bump, and closes house onto BDS's head. A one-goal game. Carmine answer yet again.
It all started with that mechanical miss. The midfield was wide open for Vatira to abuse. They were on defense, they were holding it down, dealing with pressure. Here comes the physical plays, and KC, they are on fire.
Holding on to the rebounds and the possession's been a problem for BDS. Reset from Itachi. Exotic will think twice and give it back to his captain for the moment. Cut down to the midfield, 50 game to BDS. And Exotic will try to play this to the corner, will be successful, rewarded, leaves up to Vanti, but into the midfield we go. Chip shots and challenges as both teams vie for possession.
While we haven't seen the best out of BDS in game number 3, they've been holding so much pressure regardless of the mechanical issues. Those might start to connect later in this series, and of course they do. Seiko bounces back.
These are the infield passes we were looking for from BDS. Monkey Moon to the ceiling, through the corner, threads the needle, and drops the hammer on KCorp.
Everything there works because of the first touch from Monkey Moon into the ceiling, back to himself, and you have to recover on the corner in that sidewall. BDS, there's the quality that was lacking, all tied up, and we are facing the final 60 seconds. It's as close as the whole series has already been, Spaceman. This is going to be a beautiful game.
You want a heavyweight fight? You got it. Two of the best teams in the world. Going trade for trade, shot for shot, under 60 to play. Cut off from the ceiling. Exotic still following. Monkey Moon will find the clear to Rise. Wins a 50. Seiko now moving up, but Itachi will find it. Carrying. Reset. Waiting. Monkey Moon clears it to the side.
Seiko didn't get a touch, and I got scared for a second, but I don't think Itachi had enough boost. Still looking for another opportunity. Finding their way through BDS, but everybody pushed forward. And it's a transitional play for Team BDS.
You picked the pocket on the transition. You better hope you have a man back.
What is that, 50?
A quick 50
What?
And a better read as Rise understood the assignment and threw the textbook right at his opponents.
And that's just so fortunate. I think it was Monkey Moon in the corner who was holding on to the challenge right under the ball. It squeezed all the way to the other side. Oh, but hang on a second, KC. Are they going to do it?
It seems like it's been the defensive mistakes that have held BDS's offense back, but Carmine have been able to answer with that demo, looking for the bump. Quick challenge from Monkey Moon, and he avoids the pressure. Now it's a transition into the corner. Carmine have to race back. Monkey Moon in a 1v2. Itachi has to fly back into the play and circle this one around. You get one push up field if you are Carmine, and keeping up is the most important factor. Into the midfield. Rise to Seiko. You're trying to let this drop, and nicely played as BDS will have advantage in this series.
Nice little fake from Seiko to let the ball drop, and I cannot believe how this game ended. That 50-50 that squeezed out of the corner. How did that even happen? It was a poor approach, I think, from KC, or just a fortunate play from BDS, but they were in position, Spaceman, to take full advantage of it.
And I think that's the best way to highlight it. You had 9 saves and 7 demos from Carmine. They were in position multiple times during this game. But it really came down to the consistent pressure and the offensive wins. Those rebounds in the corner were huge for BDS. As we had just been told, a timeout for KC is underway.
It's been a lot of transitions, too, from, I'd say, both teams, and that's another look at that awkward play where it got all the way to the left side. The Mobile One High Performance replay has been all over the place, Spaceman. We've gotten a little bit of everything. We've gotten crazy pinches, some solo plays, ridiculous team passes that we can reflect on in this timeout. And I'm still amazed at that earlier fake from Rise to give his teammates some time to go for the bump. And things are going to have to change for KC. They want to kill the momentum out of BDS through this timeout.
And there are a few players in all of the league who have more history and words to say about one another than Rise and, of course, Vatira on the other side. So you know this match has history to it. It's got weight, not alone just in, of course, the bracket, but what it means for both these organizations, both these players going their respective ways. Vatira making that first jump from the original Moist roster was a big call at the time. Rise jumping between a couple of organizations, but seems to have found a home for the moment with BDS and was brought on to help secure and clinch potential back-to-back World Championships. And now they find themselves currently up 2-1.
And isn't it just a beautiful thing to see those players in particular who are on the same starting roster for Moist go their separate ways, then blossom on their respective teams and get the experience on LAN. And here they are again, battling it out on the pitch with their newly refined rosters on new teams. And we're seeing some of the best Rocket League the world has ever gotten to witness. Of course, it's fitting for the World Championship, and you can see the handshakes, the high fives coming out from BDS. They want to keep the hype, keep the momentum, and try to not let this timeout or extinguish them.
Cool, calm, and collected, it seems, in the face games of KCorp. Your winter major champions been in this spot before, and they know how to bring the shovel and dig themselves out. Here we go into Coliseum, where legends are made and match points are won. BDS trying to go up 3-1 in the series.
Top 8 is what you get for making it to the finish line in this series. And I do believe you avoid Vitality in the playoff bracket, of course, until potentially the grand finals. And that would be massive for either side. Rise, he could start us off early with a flip reset, getting mechanical. I was questioning him a little bit in the last game, but he certainly showed up towards the end.
And it's been hunting on those individual challenges as Carmine found the clear, but now struggling to continue it downfield. All members pushed up for BDS. Rise through the corner for the second time off the kickoff. Exotic will finally get Carmine to breathe, but how long will it last? That's the big question.
And this feels like what's been happening all series long. While it's been very close and down to the wire space, man, I do think BDS have held most of the pressure. It's a defensive approach from Carmine, and that can be exhausting if you're not finding the boost and you're giving players like Monkey Moon, Seiko, and Rise space. That wears and tears you down.
It's been repeated steals of those corner grabs. Boost in the tank for BDS. Make it a demo as well. Here comes Seiko, but Exotic, nice job just to get the tip of the Fennec up in time. Perfect pre-read to help Carmine escape their own side.
Oh, and that's a huge touch from Vatira. You have to find the follow-ups after the clears if you want to relieve pressure. One booming hit off your backboard isn't enough to get through the midfield defense of BDS. Carmine have to be cautious. And of course, waiting for that shot was Seiko, beautifully timed on the flick, but not enough to get through the goalkeeper.
It's huge patience from Vatira. He was watching the infield pass, made sure he had all his corners covered, and darts out on the diving save. But here comes BDS yet again onto the ground. Seiko falling back again. The third man waiting for his chance as Monkey Moon had the second call, was waiting for the slot, but that striker still kept at bay in this period.
Oh, and the pinch off the ceiling, that was a delicious play. You could see what they were cooking up in the kitchen there. Carmine, it's just clear after clear to nobody. This is another example, back to the hands of BDS. How are they going to build something on the other side, Spaceman? Because right now, they couldn't even buy a possession on the other side if they wanted to.
And they can't even break out. They've been stuck here on their own field for about 2 minutes here in game number 4. Carmine are struggling to find these clears and hold on to possession as Rise with the redirect just gives more opportunities to BDS on the backboard. You got Monkey Moon following through, and now an opportunity here for Rise and BDS to move forward.
And we talk a lot about BDS and how they're holding pressure, but they haven't gotten a single goal. Is this the strategy, the approach for KC? Are they wanting to play defensive and try and bait BDS in to get that third man to bite, leaving a free and wide open net? We've seen it a couple of times before in the first 3 games. Will it happen again?
Oh.
Let's find out.
I mean, finally the status quo dissolves. Vatira, the pass off the post. And regardless of not if it was on target, you're looking for a save from BDS to come through. Redirect shot, Exotic saves.
Nice clear to himself. I think that shot needed to be a little bit more accurate, though. That was the one chance. Literally the one shot that KC have got. 1 for KC, 9 for BDS. Ridiculously overpowered. And here comes the slow approach from Seiko. Some disturbance in the net of KC. I know somebody's lurking there. It's Monkey Moon trying to find a demo, and Seiko can just slot into the bottom right.
Just cerebral efficiency from BDS. You're thinking maybe he's going left post, far side. No, worried about the bump from Monkey Moon, and plays it near.
Yep.
Nicely done by BDS, taking advantage of the space, but off the kickoff, it's Itachi. He's working off the backboard. Pinches it down. Here comes Exotic. And yet again, Carmine will be missing out on their efforts upfield.
I want to credit BDS. They haven't played a lot of defense, but when they do, not missing a beat whatsoever. Off the backboard, it's wide open. Rise isn't going to miss those. BDS, another one.
It's just the midfield control here. Seiko wins a 50. It's wide open. You can't blame Carmine for pushing up. They're getting pushed back far too often, low on boost, losing through the corner, struggling to hold on to the rebounds upfield. and they have to expend all of their resources just to stay involved in this game, and BDS understand the situation they're in.
And this is after the timeout. KC, the extra 60 seconds not enough to pull through and fight back in this series. Potential match point for BDS, but there's still time remaining, and that third man, Seiko, got a little bit eager. That's what KC won.
1 goal, 5 shots for the young one, the MVP for 2022
double.
World Championship.
Oh
to pass, or you joking BDS?
This is just unfair. This is too much for Seiko. I thought he was gonna go for the shot. Instead, this man is as selfless as can be and finds Monkey Moon waiting in the midfield.
And that's why he hangs back. He can scout the field with an eagle's eye and gets his teammates in position to capitalize. The demo on the kickoff, and Rise will clear it away. Under a minute to play. A 3-0 lead, and a dominant one at that. It hasn't been the cleanest from both sides, but BDS have certainly found what they've been looking for. And for the moment, Carmine just needs some signs of life.
I want to call out Itachi. I talked about him being instrumental in their series against Team Secret. Where is he in this one against BDS? How can he step up behind the ball? And right now he's getting beaten in every 50-50. I think all 3 players right now don't have the boost, don't have the positional awareness of what BDS are gonna do when they're gonna go for the ball. Plays like this from Rise to set up a solo from Seiko, who's moon flicking it over you, and now the follow-up again out of Rise to go on the backboard. It's just too much to handle if you're KC.
The battle of the first touch, the second, the collapse, send the house. Let the tsunami swallow the blue wall, the pass to Monkey Moon.
There it is again.
But it doesn't even matter. A 3-1 lead in this best of 7, and BDS are on an absolute tear against KCorp. Maybe one for the road, but right now, Turtle, this one's done. And my goodness, does it look good.
And there's no timeout. KC just used their timeout. We've got to go immediately into match point, where BDS are fired up. Carmine, 0 goals in this game. 3 shots during that 5 minutes, and 16 shots out of Team BDS. That is as one-sided as you can get.
You got 5 demos, 10 saves for Carmine. There's a reason why. They were just trying to break out of their own side of the field and into the orange half, but every single time,
has to be a goal.
It seems like they just could not find those extra rebounds, win those touches on the 50s, and it was punishing. As in our Mobile 1 high-performance replay, you see the confidence and the composure upfield from BDS.
And I'm thinking back to that Vatira shot. I think that was the moment that could have changed things in game number 4. If he hits that shot, if he sinks it, that would definitely freeze up a little bit of Team BDS's confidence. You cool them off slightly, they start pushing back more into their own half. They could potentially get more in their own head just because Carmine have found a way through. But instead it was the opposite. They were scoreless, 0 to their name. And on match point, what do they change, Spaceman? It can't be this defensive. They are getting bullied with the demos, with the shots, the accuracy, the midfield pressure. They are drowning on the pitch, and they've got one more chance. Otherwise, it's going to be Team BDS moving into the playoffs.
Defense keeps you in games, offense helps you win them. And right now, if you're Carmine, you need the ladder. They have struggled, but Vatira off the kickoff. The reset dunk from Vatira. What a way to get it going.
He missed the last shot, but he's not missing this one. Vatira by himself, flip, reset, dunk into Seiko. And that's the way you want to start out game 5.
There's only one way to respond when you're stuck on your own side of the field for 5 minutes, and that's with a reset dunk from your #1 player. A lead for Carmine. Is it more to come? The miss off the backboard, and a chance back out as Carmine will try again.
That would have been huge to go up 2-0 off the mechanical whiff from BDS that I mentioned earlier. We've seen a couple of instances. There are moments to punish against BDS where they can get flustered. It's just so difficult to put them in that position. Vatira hunting down one player, one goalkeeper taken out. What does Itachi do on the sidewall? He's got space, a pre-jump, but we get a pause, and what a beautiful pause it is. Vatira is pre-jumping, Itachi's behind the ball. This is certainly a wallpaper if I've ever seen one, Spaceman.
Take a screenshot, you might want to save that. It's a beautiful way to represent.
And look at Monkey Moon and Seiko. They're literally both just in the same spot.
I mean, they're looking at each other saying, what do we do in this spot?
Bro, you seeing this? You seeing what's going on right now, Monkey Moon? I'm not saving this. Are you saving this?
Well, we'll wait to see what the admins do have to say and whether or not that kickoff goal will go the way of KCorp for the moment, though, of course. Couple of seconds burned here in game number 5. And for the moment, we will wait to see. But I think it really comes back to this. The offense has been lacking for Karmine. That's credit to, of course, the pressure BDS have been applying. But it really has been the inconsistencies defensively. They can't clear the ball for long periods of time. They can't hold on possession downfield. Those infield passes, while sparingly have been there, have not been enough to keep them involved in this game.
It just comes down to the midfield. I don't mind KC coming out with a defensive approach against BDS. And it has actually worked more often than what I previously thought. If I'm reflecting right now on the first few games, there were a couple of moments where that third man out of BDS had pushed up too far forward, but KC, they've been stuck in their own half space, man. And no matter what strategy you want to go with, that amount of defense being in your own half, that much against players like Rise and Seiko and Monkey Moon, it is not going to work out pretty for you. As we do fix and resolve some of these issues, it looks like Rise might have been having some type of problem with his PC. We're going to get that figured out and sorted. And this could benefit KC. I mean, they've got some time now to cool off. They got that first goal. We'll see if it does actually stand regarding the admin rule, excuse me. But this could be a moment to find your nerve, Spaceman.
I mean, this is a free tactical timeout if you're Karmine to think things over. You burn it early in the series. You lose that crucial game there in Coliseum, and now you get an opportunity here to, again, talk about the strategy, execute the game plan. What's not working for this squad? How can they break down the offense of BDS? But more importantly, Turtle, what again has been the crux of this series so far, the midfield game that they just don't have. Certainly things turn around after the timeout.
Yeah, and you know, Vatira has now found his form. I mean, that first goal was a huge statement. I think you get things rolling with that one. And to be honest, there's no looking back. That is a confidence goal. It's one thing to get, you know, a punishing moment where, you know, maybe BDS had missed on the backboard, but earning your first goal after a long drought like that for Vati, who I believe was also the player who missed on the pass in the previous game, for him to come out, find some redemption early on, that's huge. And Karmine Corp can absolutely, there's no doubt in my mind, can get back into the series.
And it really has been Karmine playing the BDS game through the corners, losing a lot of those 50s, losing the challenges. But when the rebounds have popped out to the midfield, BDS are there thanks to Seiko, the third man. The island's been secure for the most part in this series, in the best of 7. How long it can be is a marathon, and it's really up to the players to decide how quickly they want to end this. Yeah. But regardless, I think the situation is clear for Karmine. You're not out of this if you lose this series, but of course it's going to be a little bit more difficult. A top 8 spot on the line into the playoff bracket for BDS, 1 match away, and they have 3 chances to get it done. If this one goes 7, I mean, I think we would all like to see it, but it really comes down to whether or not Karmine have enough right now mentally to get through.
It's all about that mental game, but from what I'm seeing, I mean, they're hungry to get back into this. This is, you know, a mountain to climb, but one that I'm sure all of them think is possible. Itachi on your screen, looking confident. I believe I saw all of them going into free play too, just to keep the hands warm. Very important. And I'm thinking too, are they reflecting on the past few series where BDS have had their number? Like I said, it went to game 7, but BDS were able to squeak out a win, especially in the last time these guys fought against each other. It was at the Spring Major. And in game 7, BDS were able to beat them 7-3 in the game scoreline. And that type of beatdown is one that you might remember even to today.
I mean, it's only fitting we bring up the Spring Major and how important Farah for Vitality was to get his team's mental in check before their Grand Finals run. I think a similar thing could be said about these two coaches for Karmine and BDS, how important this current timeout is to get your teams ready to go. Specifically, are they able to reset the mental, refill the meters of these players, and get them a chance to either close out this series or push it to a game 6, potentially 7. These are where coaches are at their best and where you really feel the impact, but you know,
and I'm curious, like what does KC do? What are they discussing in these moments of downtime? You're given space to collect yourself against the BDS roster that felt like they could make no mistakes when pushing up on offense.
Well, the demos from Karmine have been used to clear their own zone, but they're not enough to clear out the play. They're not enough to get out to the midfield, win a lot of those boost grabs, and start moving that offense upfield. They're really just using it to stay alive for the moment, and I think that's
to relieve pressure.
Exactly, but then they don't get enough chance on the counter swing to create any offense. So if you're BDS, you're like, look, we'll get demoed all day long, but if we're beating you 3 out of nothing every single time we get the ball, we're going to keep putting goals on the board, and Karmine have to find a better approach to capitalize on that physicality.
It's just the earlier transition. Like, they cannot stay in their own half for minutes at a time, Spaceman. That is your own demise if you're stuck in your own half. And, you know, you mentioned demos, you mentioned the physical plays, and I'm thinking back to BDS, what they've been able to do. This is a very interesting physical style, too, from Team BDS, where I'm not seeing one player just be the aggressor, you know, one player who would take the role of Arsenal and move forward, get as many demos as possible. BDS have been slower with their approach. You'll get one player, get behind the ball, go for a dribble, bring it down, and then give time to allow any player in that first man spot to then go for the demo. It's very, very specifically timed, and because of that, I have to applaud the aggressive approach. And that's also why BDS have been able to sustain pressure. They're not getting too hungry, where KCorp are trying to bait them into.
And when we saw in game one where Seiko had to hang back as the third man, a lot of those 50s that went the way of Karmine at the midfield kept Seiko out of the play. You lose him on offense, you lose him on the counterattacks, and it really came down to whether or not Karmine had enough to move the ball upfield, find those infield passes. They did. But as this series has progressed, it has been BDS who have been neutralizing Vatira, neutralizing Itachi. Exotic's been upfield hunting for boost, hunting for players to demo out of the play or set up a pass, but it hasn't been the same Karmine we're used to seeing working off of the physicality. They're so good in space individually in their positioning. Their positioning's been clustered. It's been congested. They haven't found the avenues available that they're so accustomed to. And BDS, of course, champions on their own right, but more than enough. It
still does feel like it comes down to those challenges as well, though. Remember the first 2 games in this series, it felt like BDS, I mean, Monkey Moon was in that corner, squeezed it out to the other side. That's why KC lost that game.
Right.
That's not only devastating, but a frustrating game to lose. The challenges have been going in favor of BDS. There's so many areas that KC can, in fact, improve upon. And it's also just fitting. I mean, these two organizations fought against each other in the previous World Championship. Of course, they've now got refined and new rosters, but the rivalry that has been developing between BDS and KC is one that will certainly go down in the history books, and reminding everybody at home that we are dealing with a couple of technical issues, but we're not going anywhere, all right? We're getting it resolved as fast as possible. And we've got some time to kill and talk about how much fun this series has been. I hope we get Game 7, all right? It looks like BDS are running away with it, but I genuinely think, especially after the increased time that KC have gotten, this is going the distance, Spaceman.
It's a 3-1 series score, and BDS want to close it out in 5. Quick reminder, after Game 4, BDS have 51 shots in this series, Karmine with 21. That's a difference of 12.75 per game for BDS versus 5.25 for Karmine. I mean, double the attempts, double the opportunities. BDS have had their way on offense. It's been sloppy from both teams, of course. There have been chances that have gone by the wayside for both of our squads. But regardless, when it does come to the World Championship, sometimes it's just by brute force.
Yeah.
Whether or not you're working through the group stage, the wild card, regardless, into the playoff bracket, if you want to move, it will require the full forward effort and the three-headed hydra of BDS.
And actually, we do get some information. So the pause on this play was called in the midfield. It was called at 4:31. Apparently, BDS have been experiencing some visible network issues, and the pause was before that play had developed to get in front of Team BDS's goal. And that will play into what we got earlier. You saw the pause in front of the net where there's two players out of BDS just stuck on the goal line, and it looked like a pre-jump opportunity for KCorp. Apparently, there was a pause before that was even able to develop, space.
And now you wonder, what the question really being, does the momentum stall out for Karmine after the opening kickoff? Vatira gets it going. All of a sudden, we're feeling all right. The mechanics are back. Karmine look like they're rolling just to start this Game 5. BDS now have a chance to come back off the timeout and completely shut that down.
Honestly, I don't think they're going to be hurting too much. Yes, it might have looked like they were developing a play, but with the pause being called that early, and also the first goal standing for KC, I don't think they're going to be in their heads. And you could see that they certainly aren't, because the pressure already coming out from the blue side, and we're back into game number 5.
Flying through the counterattacks, Vatira. As Itachi and his teammates upfield, and this Exotic will fight for a one-on-one against Monkey Moon. The world champion works through the corner, and off the back wall, Rise on the clear. Exotic looking for Itachi, will find him. The pop free into the backboard. Vatira waiting for his chance, but Seiko does the same, and Rise looking for the clear.
And we'll see what the transitions have to offer for BDS. Rise was behind the ball with an air dribble, and nobody wanted to challenge Monkey Moon, who just gave it away for free. Vatira early on that rotation, and BDS are right where things left off in the previous game on offense, trying to build something threatening to thread the needle.
And trading possessions for the moment, both teams vying for a spot back at the midfield. Seiko's been relatively free on that real estate, has not faced too much pressure from the following demos and bumps that we've seen from KarmInKorp, as Seiko will hunt down Itachi and elect to peel off the play, grabbing boost. Opportunities here for Itachi. Flip reset, taken away, Monkey Moon clears.
But look at the boost meter. Itachi was up, could have potentially had a solo play, but with 0 in the tank, there's not much else he can do. However, Exotic, he's got some boost, and he's gonna put some work in.
Just because the play is clear does not mean the play is over. Exotic positioning 2-0 to Karmine.
And there's smiles on the faces of Itachi from the side of KC. If I'm a fan right now of the blue side, that makes me happy, seeing the vibes as immaculate as ever, even when faced, with this challenge of getting 3 games in a row. Who else to ask than KC?
And you saw the triple commit there from BDS on defense. They prioritize the boost grab from Seiko. Everybody flies out. The infill pass gives it right back. Exotic can't win the 50. Is that on target? It might be. Off the crossbar. Still alive. And Monkey Moon finally closes it.
Oh, you feel for the goalkeeper. Look at the confusion on Vatira. He thought it was in. It gets past him. Off the other post as well. Can't get in the position to find a block. And BDS strike back.
What a way to get back into the swing of things here on Game 5. Karmine fighting for their current lives here. And the Group A upper bracket still will not be out by any stretch. Neither team will be eliminated today. But playoff bracket looms and top 8 as well.
And you have to hope for KC that that transition goal out of BDS doesn't flatten your offense, doesn't scare you to go back into this passive approach, because finding transitions, getting more aggressive is what they need. Vatira, nice demo. Should alleviate a little bit of pressure. And of course, it will. Nobody was in that corner. Vatira, slow carry out.
Big demo there from Karmine. Gives you a power play opportunity, but Seiko thinks twice. Does win a 50. Second touch not there.
Itachi.
Into the corner again. A stack. 2 at the time here for BDS. Struggling to hold on to possession.
Oh my goodness. And Seiko and Rise ran into each other, stepping on each other's toes in the rotation. But somehow it doesn't end up in some possession for KC. Even after bumping each other, they're still able to put opportunities on target.
And Karmine are watching Rise with the back wall. They're making sure that they're waiting for that center. They're getting players out of position. And once the pass comes in, you have to challenge the touch. Nicely read by Karmine, high and skying into the ceiling, but there's the clear. As Vatira will poke it free. Checked out by Seiko and carrying out through the 50.
Itachi was forced to go all the way back, couldn't find boost, but here he comes, flying as fast as ever. Big 50-50 and a clear down the other side. Rise. These guys can take shots from any angle. It's ridiculous space, man. You never know when BDS are gonna try and strike. Rise up early, ties us up.
They're trying to get Karmine to bite, and this is why you push pressure through the corner. Waiting for Vatira on the challenge. Seiko just leaves it up on a serve, and Rise follows through. The 3-man offense presses. 67 seconds on the clock. BDS fighting through the corner to get Karmine to fake out, and they find that second goal.
And this is match point for top 8. BDS 1 goal away from making it, clinching your spot, and securing a top 8 run at the World Championship. 50 to go.
If you win this best of 7, you avoid vitality. I know a lot of players want to do that. 45 to play. Right back to Monkey Moon. Slap shot saved away by Vatira. Denied on the post. Still alive here for BDS. The offense swings through. Rise trying to get very comfortable in the Rule 1 broken up. You got to leave it up to Karmine to find this clear, but Rise not done with the play just yet.
These guys, of course, like I said, can take shots from any angle. What do you do if you're KC? Where do you position? Who is going to take the shot? It's always going to be an illusion. But this is your one chance. Itachi could find the flip reset, easily saved away, and back down the other end come BDS.
And Seiko burns all of his boost, so he needs help as Rise clears it. Monkey Moon into the box. Seiko has to get more.
Who's going for boost?
And he has no choice. Left up, Vatira, the catch. Now on juggle, Rise will cut it down, but Exotic is there. Itachi, second man up. And we go to golden goal here in Game 5.
KarmInKorp might just drop to the lower bracket or stay alive in this series. One mistake One goal, a double tap from Exotic could do it, could end things early. Vatira, nice follow-up, but quickly saved.
Crashing into the box, BDS's defense holds strong yet again. Rotation back out for Carmine. It's still on target, but Seiko will be there. But you keep numbers up. The blue wall can absolutely stack, but a long clear, it's downfield. It got it. Seiko got it. BDS win.
Top 8 secured. KC knocked down to the lower bracket, a 4-1 landslide of a victory for BDS. After the pause came out, you thought maybe BDS would falter, would waver a little bit. KC even got the first goal, and even that isn't enough to take down the reigning world champs.
The island is important. He's there the entire series. Seiko, so crucial for BDS's win here in this best of 7. How many times did he come up clutch? And when it came down to pushing out that pressure in the back line, forcing the disadvantage on the man, it was tough. The 2-3 zone works out. BDS pressed upfield, and Seiko with a pre-read onto Exotic. The connection to Itachi was not enough.
That's a tough read too. As we look back at it, Hitachi was the player who had to get a touch. It doesn't matter if you lose the 50-50 in that situation. A touch is all you need. Anything to keep that ball off of your own net. And you can even see the reaction, the emotions coming out, as that play will probably linger in his mind for some time. But you've got to forget about it early because you have not secured playoffs. KC are going to have to battle back.
Top 8 for BDS thanks to their world champion MVP of your 2022 tournament. Seiko, absolutely crucial in this best of 7. And BDS made Carmine look pedestrian for a lot of this series. That is not an easy thing to do.
This was absolutely the best goal from KC. That solo play from Vati, who had recovered from previously missing the one opportunity they got in the game previous. And I thought that was going to give them some kind of life, something to hold on to moving forward if they could just get their defense in order. Then the post-to-post bounce. It was not favoring KC whatsoever. BDS were running laps around their half, taking boost, getting properly timed demos. It was all connecting for the reigning world champs. And we've also got an interview. Let's go ahead and throw it onto the desk. Or this.
And we have to, well, I guess just me here, give a round of applause here for Seiko and BDS. This is what a wonderful, wonderful win for you guys. You guys sounded super happy and excited for this. I have to imagine there's a lot of pressure coming into this event, obviously, as to win another World Championship title here. Is that pressure coming out in those cheers at the end? Is that what we're seeing at that moment?
Alors, on vous a entendu super bruyant pendant tout le match jusqu'à la fin. Est-ce que y avait beaucoup de pression à travers ces cris parce que vous êtes là en train de défendre vos titres de champion du monde? Est-ce qu'il y a de la pression par rapport à ça ou pas du tout?
En vrai, je pense, c'est un peu bête à dire, mais le fait qu'on ait fait une saison... Enfin, on a fait un mauvais début de saison, je pense que d'un côté, ça nous a aidé parce que les gens ne nous voyaient pas forcément comme des champions du monde ou quoi. Enfin, ils nous voient comme des champions du monde, mais ils pensent pas qu'on est encore aussi fort qu'avant, alors que c'est le cas. Et juste, on se met pas de pression, on essaie de faire de notre mieux et on verra ce qui se passe après.
So I mean, having a season not that good helped us because when coming at this event, people know that we are world champions, but they feel like we probably won't win again. So I mean, it helped us a lot. So I think we don't have much pressure right now on our shoulder, but I think that definitely helped us. But we're still as good as before. So.
You have to believe in yourself. You absolutely have to. Now, looking at this match here, we had a technical timeout in the middle of it. How hard is it to maintain focus through a timeout like that? And what do you guys do to make sure that you're ready to go the second you hit the pitch again?
Alors, on a eu une pause technique pendant le match. Comment est-ce que vous arrivez à garder le focus pendant ces pauses-là qui sont pas attendues? Et comment est-ce que vous arrivez à garder le focus et à revenir directement dans le jeu?
Bon, je pense que c'est juste les Worlds, tout le monde redevient focus directement parce que c'est les matchs les plus importants de notre carrière en soi, parce qu'on n'en jouera pas 40 000 des Worlds. Donc c'est des matchs importants et juste on se met dedans à fond et on essaie de faire de notre mieux à chaque fois.
So, because we are at Worlds, we all are super focused on the game. So, I mean, it doesn't matter if we have technical difficulties because then we are directly back on the game. And, because we won't play a lot of Worlds in the career, we just have to be and stay focused.
Now, you guys had a lot of shots on net, and it seemed like they were all getting saved. How frustrating is it to have an opponent on the other side of the field that won't let you through?
Alors vous avez eu beaucoup de tirs cadrés pendant tout le match. Est-ce que c'est frustrant finalement d'avoir une équipe en face de vous qui arrive si bien à défendre et à bloquer tous vos tirs?
En fait, non, justement, faut juste pas se frustrer parce que c'est le moment où tu vas commencer à faire des erreurs. Faut juste continuer à mettre la pression et il y a bien un moment où ils feront une erreur où on arrivera à marquer.
So no, I mean, we are not frustrated because you can't be frustrated in kind of moments because I mean, you know, we just have to keep the pressure on, keep shooting, and you know, it's gonna go through one. I don't know.
It sounds like the team has a lot of focus. Before I let you go here, then I have to say you guys don't play for 2 days now. Is that a good thing for you, or do you feel like the nerves? No, it looks like. Or will the nerves build up in that time before getting to play again?
Alors vous rejouez pas avant dimanche, donc vous jouez pas pendant 2 jours. Finalement, comment est-ce que tu te sens par rapport à ça? Est-ce que ça vous aide? Au contraire, ça peut être plus difficile pour vous?
En fait, je pense pour nous, personnellement, je parle pour moi ça me dérange pas parce que l'année dernière c'était un peu pareil. Et avec l'expérience, t'apprends à faire quoi. Et juste, on se met pas de pression et on jouera dimanche et comme on sait le faire. Et j'ai envie de te dire, si ça passe tant mieux, si ça passe pas.
So I mean, you know, individually it doesn't really matter because last year it was pretty much the same. So I mean, you know, it's just we have to be ready, we have to be there, and you know, if we win, then we win, and if we don't, then we don't.
Hey, well, again, it sounds like you guys have a lot of focus. Hopefully you can keep that over the next 2 days. Again, congratulations on making that Sunday.